Hello everybody, today we are going to discuss functions of plant nutrients and in which form plant uptake these nutrients from soil, and we will also discuss visual symptoms of plant nutrients deficiency. We all need nutrients to survive. Plants also need nutrients, and these nutrients are supplied from the soil. Now, what is a fertile soil? A fertile soil contains all the major nutrients that are required by the plants. Okay, the fertile soil contains all the major nutrients that are required by the plants. The fertile soil supply nutrients to plants in adequate amount and suitable proportions. So the capability of the soil to provide all the essential plant nutrients in available form is called soil fertility. Okay, there are total 17 plant nutrients which are very necessary for the plant growth. Okay, three of the nutrients three of the 17 nutrients uh, are supplied from air and water, and fo- uh, rest of the 14 nutrients are supplied from soil and fertilizer. Okay, soil and fertilizer, and three of the 17 nutrients are supplied from air and water. Okay, now the fertile soil will contain all the major nutrients which are essential for plants, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are the major nutrients of plants. Okay, which are essential for plant survival. Okay, these are the most important, and these nutrients are essential for plant survival. Okay, and these nutrients are also known as primary nutrients. These nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, are known as primary nutrients because primary nutrients are the nutrients which are needed by plants in high amount. Okay, in high quantity. These nutrients are needed by plant in high quantity. Okay, that's why they are known as primary nutrients, and these are the major nutrients of plants. Now next one is calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Calcium, magnesium, and sulfur are known as secondary nutrients are the nutrients which are needed by plants in small quantity. Okay, small quantity. These nutrients are needed by plants in small quantity, whereas nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium are needed by plants in high quantity. Okay, it is very important to note that deficiency of the secondary nutrients, that is calcium, magnesium, and sulfur, could be as harmful as the deficiency of primary nutrients. Okay, deficiency of secondary nutrients could be as harmful as the deficiency of primary nutrients. So secondary nutrients are very important for plant growth, and for a healthy plant secondary nutrients are very important. Okay, and primary nutrients are vital for the plant survival, and there are other nutrients are also needed by plant. Okay, other nutrients such as iron, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, and manganese. These nutrients are also needed by plants, but these nutrients are needed by plants in very small quantity. Okay, in very small quantity, these nutrients are needed by plants. But these two types of nutrient, that is primary and secondary nutrients, are very important for plants, and uh, they are needed in these are needed in high quantity as compared to these nutrients which are needed by plants in a small quantity. So these nutrients, iron, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum and magnesiums, are known as micronutrients, whereas the primary and secondary nutrients, both primary and secondary nutrients, are known as macronutrients, because macronutrients are needed by plants in high amount, and these nutrients are micronutrients are needed by plants in small quantity. But when we compare primary and secondary, then primary and secondary only refers to the quantity of nutrient. Primary and secondary nutrients only refers to the quantity of nutrients. So primary nutrients are, as compared to primary nutrients, secondary nutrients are needed in small amount, okay, whereas primary nutrients are needed in high amount, okay. So plant nutrients can be supplied from air and water. We have just discussed that there are total 17 essential plant nutrients. 3 of the 17 nutrients are supplied from air and water, and 14 of the rest is supplied from the fertilizer and soil sources. So carbon, hydrogen and oxygen are the plant nutrients that are supplied from air and water, and the nutrients which are supplied from soil and fertilizer sources are divided into two groups, that is macronutrients and micronutrients, okay. Macronutrients are the nutrients which are needed by plants in high amount, whereas micronutrients are the nutrients which are needed by plants in a small amount, okay. Now nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium are essential nutrients, and these are known as primary nutrients, okay, and sulfur, calcium and magnesium are secondary nutrients, okay, which are needed in small amount as compared to primary nutrients, okay. As compared to primary nutrients, secondary nutrients, that is sulfur, calcium and magnesium, are needed by plants in small quantity. So this is the major difference, this is the basic difference between primary and secondary, and both primary and secondary nutrients are known as macronutrients, okay. The other nutrients which are also needed by plants in small quantity. So these nutrients are manganese, copper, zinc, iron, boron, chlorine, molybdenum and cobalt. Different forms in which plant uptake nutrients, okay. There are different forms in which plants uptake nutrients. Plant absorbs nutrients from soil in different forms. So first one is nitrogen, okay. Nitrogen is an essential element of all the amino acids, okay. Nitrogen is an essential element of all the amino acids in plants. And what are amino acids? Amino acids are the building blocks of plant proteins, which is important in the growth of plant, okay. So function of nitrogen is the function of nitrogen is protein synthesis and component, and it is nitrogen is a component of nucleic acid, and nucleic acid forms DNA, okay. What nucleic acid does? Nucleic acid forms DNA, okay. DNA is a genetic material that transfers certain traits from one generation to another, okay. DNA is a genetic material that transfers certain traits from one generation to another. So nitrogen is responsible for protein synthesis in plants, and also for DNA formation, and also it enhances the green colors in plant. Nitrogen enhances the green colors in plants, okay. Chlorophyll gives the green color to plants, okay. Chlorophyll gives the green color to plant by the through the process of photosynthesis And what nitrogen does, nitrogen enhance the color of green color in enhance the green color in plants. Okay, now nitrogen, uh, plants uptake nitrogen in the form of nitrate and ammonium, NO3 ions and NH4 ions. Nitrate in the form of nitrate and ammonium. Plant uptake nitrogen in the form of nitrate and ammonium. Now next one is phosphorus. Phosphorus is responsible for respiration in plants. It is also responsible for DNA formation, and it is responsible to perform complex energy transmissions. Okay, it is responsible for complex energy transmissions. What is ATP? ATP is adenosine triphosphate. Okay, ATP means adenosine triphosphate, and phosphorus is vital for ATP component. Okay, phosphorus is vital for ATP component. ATP is formed during the photosynthesis, and phosphorus is present in ATP structure. Okay, what ATP does? ATP stores energy in plants. What ATP does? ATP stores energy in plants. So phosphorus is responsible for respiration, DNA formation, and energy storage and transfer. Okay, and it plants uptake phosphorus in the form of hydrogen phosphate. Okay, potassium, plants uptake potassium in the form of potassium ions, and it activates enzymes for the generation of ATP. What it does, it activates enzymes for the generation of ATP, and ATP stores energy in plants. And potassium regulates opening and closing of stomata. Potassium regulates opening and closing of stomata. What is stomata? Okay, stomata is used for gas exchange. Stomata is used for gas exchange in plants. Like we breathe from our mouths. Similarly, plants breathe through their tiny openings in leaves. Okay, tiny openings in leaves. Stomata open and close to allow intake of CO2, to allow intake of carbon dioxide and the release of oxygen. Stomata open and close to allow the intake of carbon dioxide and the release of oxygen. Okay, this gas exchange, that is intake of carbon dioxide and release of oxygen, okay, enhances the process of photosynthesis. Okay, opening and closing of stomata enhances the process of photosynthesis. Okay, now the process by which plants, what is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process by which plants convert sunlight into usable energy. Also responsible for osmotic balance. And next one is sulfur. And plant uptakes sulfur in the form of sulfate ions, and it is also responsible for enzyme activation, and also responsible for synthesis of protein. Now next one is calcium. Plants uptake calcium in the form of calcium ions. Plant uptakes calcium in the form of calcium ion. Calcium is responsible for holding together the cell wall in the cell of plant. Okay, calcium is responsible for holding together cell walls in plants. What are cell walls? Okay, cell wall protects the cell from damage. Okay, cell wall protects the cells in plants from damage. Okay, cell walls make the cell strong to keep its shape and to control the growth of the cell. Okay, plant gives strength to the plant. Okay, cell wall gives strength to the plant. Cell wall gives strength to the plant and protects the plant from damage. Okay, what calcium does? Calcium, what is the function of calcium? Calcium holds together the cell wall of the plant so that it can protect plant from any kind of damage. Now next one is magnesium. Magnesium is responsible for enzyme activation and chlorophyll formation. Chlorophyll is an important pigment responsible for the green color in plant, and it is also responsible for the process of photosynthesis. It helps in the process of photosynthesis. Okay, and magnesium is a very important plant nutrient, and plant uptake magnesium in the form of magnesium ions. Now next one is we have just discussed the important macronutrients, which and in which form they uptake plant uptake these nutrients, and the function of macronutrients. Now we will discuss the function of micronutrients and their absorbed form. Now iron. Without iron, a plant can't produce chlorophyll. Okay, without iron, plant can't produce chlorophyll, because what iron helps a plant to move oxygen throughout the system. Okay, and it also helpful in enzyme activation. Now manganese. Plant uptake manganese in the form of manganese ions, and it is helpful in the enzyme synthesis and the process of photosynthesis. It is helpful. It is also helpful in the process of respiration, nitrogen metabolism, and in the formation of chloroplast. What is chloroplast? Chloroplast absorbs sunlight. Chloroplast absorbs sunlight and produces energy stored in ATP. Okay, now it is responsible for the synthesis of some enzymes and formation of chloroplast. Copper. Plant uptake copper in the form of copper ions. It helps in the activation of some enzymes, and copper intensifies flavor and color of vegetables and fruits, and it also intensifies color of flowers. Okay, zinc. Plant uptake zinc in the form of zinc ions, and it helps in the activation of enzyme and also in the protein synthesis. Now boron. Plant uptake boron in the form of hydrogen borate, and it helps to hold the cell wall structure in plant, holding together cell wall structure in plant. Hormone. It also helpful in hormone development and also in cell division. Boron is helpful in cell division. And next one is chlorine. Plant uptake chlorine in the form of chloride ions, and it is helpful for osmotic balance in the process of photosynthesis, and also it is disease resistant. It is very important. Chlorine, the main function of chlorine is it suppress the chloride ion suppress the plant diseases. Okay, it suppress the plant diseases. Okay, it protects the plants from certain diseases. Now next one is molybdenum. Plant uptake in the form of molybdenum ions, and this is an enzyme named nitrate reductase. Nitrate reductase enzyme helps in the reduction of nitrate to ammonium. Okay, it is the main function of molybdenum. Now cobalt. Plant uptake cobalt in the form of cobalt ions. Okay, now the main function of cobalt is the nitrogen fixation in legumes. What is the main function of cobalt? Nitrogen fixation in legumes. Now let's discuss this nitrogen fixation in detail. Okay, nitrogen fixation. Okay, nitrogen. All of us, plants, animals, humans, need nitrogen. Okay, all of us, plants, animals, humans, need nitrogen to make proteins in our body. Nitrogen is needed by human beings, animals, and plants to make proteins in our body. Plants also need nitrogen to make chlorophyll. Plant also needs nitrogen to make chlorophyll that helps them to make food from sunlight. Okay, now uh, 78.09% nitrogen is present in the atmosphere. Okay, 78.09% nitrogen is present in the atmosphere, but plant can't use nitrogen directly. Okay, plant can't use nitrogen directly, so nitrogen must be fixed for the plants to use. Okay, so the nitrogen must be fixed for the plant to use. So first of all, what happens? First of all, these atmospheric nitrogen goes to the roots of leguminous plants. Okay, an example of leguminous plant is soya bean plant. Okay, consider soya bean plant. Okay, these atmospheric nitrogen sticks to the roots nodules of soya bean plants or leguminous plants. Okay, in the root nodules, bacteria is present in the root nodules of leguminous plants or soybean plants. So what bacteria does the conversion of what bacteria does bacteria converts this atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. Okay, using an enzyme named nitrogenase. Okay, nitrogenase, using an enzyme, bacteria converts atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. This is known as nitrogen fixation. Okay, this is known as nitrogen fixation, but this ammonia is also needs to be reduced. Okay, so what bacteria the next step what bacteria does is the reduction of ammonia into the nitrites and nitrates. Bacteria reduce this ammonia into nitrites and nitrates. Okay, NO2 ions and NO3 ions, and this process is known as nitrification of bacteria. This process is known as nitrification by bacteria. So this was now plant will take these nitrates from the soil. Plant will take these nitrates NO3 ions from the soil. Okay, because plants can't take directly atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, because plant can't take directly atmospheric nitrogen, so bacteria converts the atmospheric nitrogen into bacteria converts atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia, and then bacteria reduces ammonia into nitrites and nitrates, and these nitrates, okay, are taken by plants from soil. Okay, so this was about nitrogen fixation. So now let's discuss symptoms caused by these nutrients deficiency. Okay, first of all, let's discuss symptoms caused by macronutrients deficiency. What symptoms are caused by these micronutrients deficiency? First one is nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen deficiency of nitrogen causes general yellowing of leaves, stunted growth, often older leaves affected first. In nitrogen, older leaves are affected first. Okay, so as we know that nitrogen is function of nitrogen is protein synthesis and formation of DNA, and it also enhances the green color in plants. So when there is lack of nitrogen, so there would be no proper protein available for plants. So because of this, the plant will the growth of the plant would be slow. Okay, the growth of the plant would be slow, and stunted means a slow growth of plant. Okay, stunted growth means a slow growth of plant. So because of the stunted growth, yellowing of leaves occurs, and it also affects older leaves first. Now next one is phosphorus, and phosphorus the main with the visual symptoms that occurs due to the deficiency of phosphorus is it is difficult to visualize until it is severe. We stunted plants. Here also the plant growth is slow, stunted, and it also affects older leaves. Okay, it also affects older leaves. Phosphorus affects older leaves, and older leaves turn purple. turns purple. Okay, the color of the leaves turns purple, and in the case of nitrogen deficiency, the leaves turns yellowing of leaves occurs. Okay, now next one is potassium. The visual symptoms of potassium caused by the deficiency of potassium is older leaves may look burned. Okay, older leaves may look burned. When the leaves look burned, it is known as scorch. Okay, leaves are called scorch. Okay, yellowing starts from tip of lower leaves and extend to center of leaf base. In a DS means dead spot. Okay, DS mean dead spot. The yellow portion of the leaves becomes the dead spot. And dead spot, what is dead spot? Dead spots on plant leaves occurs when some insects or bacteria attacks the leaf, which results in death of plant tissue. Okay, the death of plant tissue is known as dead spot. Okay, dead spots on plant leaves occur when some insect or bacteria attacks the leaf. Okay, attacks the leaf, which result in the death of plant tissue. So death of plant tissue means dead spot of the leaf. Okay, it also affects the older leaves. Okay, deficiency of potassium also affects the older leaves like phosphorus and nitrogen, and it turns the leaves yellow, and dead spots can occur due to this deficiency of potassium. Now next one is sulfur. Okay, deficiency of sulfur causes yellowing leaves, and it starts with the younger leaves. But now sulfur affects the new leaves. Okay, sulfur affects the new leaves, and it also turns the leaves into yellow color. Okay, calcium. Deficiency of calcium causes new leaves to be distorted and irregular. Why the new leaves are distorted and irregular? Because calcium is responsible for holding together the cell wall structure in the cell of the plant, and the cell wall protects the plant from damage. And when there is a lack of calcium in plants, then plants would not be protected from the damage, so the new leaves would be distorted and irregular, and death of terminal buds may occur. Okay, terminal buds are the tip point of the stem. Okay, tip point of the stem where a flower. Deficiency of calcium also affects the new leaves. Okay, and the next one is magnesium. Older leaves will turn yellow between veins, and veins remain green. Okay, it affects older leaves, and older leaves will turn yellow. Okay, the leaves will turn yellow, but the veins, between the veins, the leaves will turn yellow, but the veins remain green. Veins will not turn into yellow, but it will remain green. So this is known as intervener chlorosis. Okay, there is one more term, that is chlorosis, and chlorosis means general yellowing of leaves. Chlorosis means general yellowing of leaves. Just the yellowing of leaves means chlorosis. But when the leaves between the veins turn yellow, and veins remain green, then this is known as intervenal chlorosis. Intervenal chlorosis. Between the veins and veins remain green is known as intervenal chlorosis, and only chlorosis means general yellowing of leaves. Okay, so magnesium deficiency of magnesium causes older leaves turn yellow and between veins, and the veins remain green. Okay, yellowing of leaves and veins remain green. Okay, next one is we have discussed symptoms of macronutrients, and now we will discuss symptoms of micronutrients. Now iron. Deficiency of iron causes intervenal chlorosis. Intervenal chlorosis, we have just discussed that when leaves turns yellow and yellow between the veins, when the leaves turns yellow between the veins, but the veins remain green. Is known as intervenal chlorosis, and the general yellowing of leaves is known as chlorosis. But when the leaves turns yellow between the veins and the veins remain green is known as intervenal chlorosis. So veins remain green when there is deficiency of iron, and other leaf portion turn yellow tending towards whiteness. Okay, and this is known as intervenal chlorosis. Now next one is manganese. Intervenal yellowing of young leaves but not tending towards white. Here also intervenal chlorosis occur, intervenal yellowing of young leaves, and it is not tending towards white. In the deficiency of iron, it tends towards white. Okay, but leaves not tend towards white in the deficiency of manganese. And veins also remain green because it is intervenal chlorosis, so veins would remain green, and it affects new leaves, and iron also affects new leaves in intervenal chlorosis occur, and here also intervenal chlorosis occurs, but it tends towards whiteness, but manganese doesn't tend toward white. Now next one is copper. Copper leaves including veins become yellow. Okay, leaves including veins become yellow and tending towards whiteness. Here intervenal chlorosis does not takes place. Okay, here intervenal chlorosis does not occur. Why? Because leaves including veins, both leaves and veins become yellow. Here in the deficiency of copper, both leaves including veins, both leaves and veins become yellow. Okay, so it is not intervenal chlorosis, because here leaves and veins both become yellow and it tends toward white. Lack of zinc, upper leaves will show chlorosis, and veins are green, veins would be green, and dead spot occur. Okay, veins would be green and dead spot occur in all parts of the leaf. Dead spots mean death of plant tissue. Next one is boron. Terminal buds die, light general yellowing. Okay, next one is chlorine. Yellowing and wilting of young leaves. Okay, yellowing and wilting of young leaves. Wilting means dropping or drying out of leaves. Okay, wilting means drying out or dropping of leaves. Yellowing and wilting of young leaves, and plant disease may infest, because chlorine is responsible for chlorine is responsible to suppress the plant diseases. So when there is lack of chlorine, then plant disease may infest the plants. Yellowing of older leaves and dead spot. Okay, now irregular shape between veins. Now last one is cobalt. Stunted plant growth means plant growth would be slow and reduced seed germination. So those were the symptoms of macronutrients and macronutrients, and now let's discuss which leaves these nutrients affects. We have already discussed how which leaves are affected by these nutrients. Now let's again revise that. Now nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium and molybdenum. Okay, these are the nutrients which affects old leaves. Okay, now among these potassium and molybdenum, in the deficiency of potassium and molybdenum, dead spot may occur. Okay, there is nitrogen deficiency, phosphorus deficiency and magnesium deficiency. No dead spot occur. Okay, and in nitrogen deficiency, both leaves and veins remain yellow. Okay, both leaves and veins remain yellow, but whereas in the magnesium deficiency, leaves turns yellow, but veins remain green color. Okay, but veins remain green color. And phosphorus, what symptoms can be seen when there is phosphorus deficiency in plant? The leaves would turn purple color. Now for phosphorus, what visual symptoms can be seen in when there is phosphorus deficiency in plants? Leaves would turn purple color. Okay, leaves would turn into purple color. Okay, purple color. Now ferrous, manganese, copper and sulfur affects new leaves. Ferrous, manganese, copper and sulfur affects new leaves. And both leaves and veins remain yellow in copper and sulfur, and in ferrous and in iron and manganese, uh, veins remain green, and also but leaves turn into yellow. Okay, and in ferrous, in iron, uh, it tends toward white, and in manganese it does not tends toward white. Okay, does not tends toward white. Affects both old and new leaves. Dead spot can be seen as a symptoms in zinc deficient plants, and green veins remain green in the zinc deficient plants. Okay, and terminal birds, death of terminal birds occur in the deficiency of calcium and boron. Some important terms related to plant visual symptoms of plants that are caused by the nutrient deficiency. First one is necrosis. Okay, we have discussed dead spot. Okay, these dead spots are known as necrosis. That is, necrosis means death of plant tissue. Okay, dead spots on plant leaves occurs when some insect or bacteria attacks the leaf, which results in the death of plant tissue. Okay, tissue browns and dies. Now next one is chlorosis. We have already discussed. Chlorosis means general yellowing of the plant tissue. Okay, general yellowing of the plant tissue. It occurs when there is lack of chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is the pigment responsible for the green color in the leaf. So the general yellowing of the plant is known as chlorosis. What is interveinal chlorosis? Interveinal chlorosis is yellowing in between leaf veins. In between yellowing of leaves in between the veins is known as interveinal chlorosis. But veins remain the green. Okay, but veins remain green. Yellowing in between leaf veins, yet veins remain green. It is known as interveinal chlorosis. Stunting means the plant growth is slow. Okay, stunting means growth of plant is slow. Decreased growth, shorter height of the affected plants. Now next one is scorch. The edges of the older leaves will look burned. Next one is mottling. Mottling means spotted, irregular, inconsistent pattern. Okay, so these were the terms associated to the symptoms of plants which are caused by the nutrient deficiency. So friends, I hope you learned something from this video, and I will bring more videos on agriculture and economics section of NABARD exam. So if you haven't subscribed it yet, then please subscribe now and press the bell icon to get notification for new videos. Thank you and have a nice day.